So, Ice Queendom just ended, right? No, oh, sorry. Let me just, say the whole thing. Studio Shaft's Persona 6 Ice Queendom Revelations featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry series and Knuckles 1.5 Final Mix just ended. It rolls off the tongue so well, how did I forget? So, what's my overall verdict on it? Well, the animation, aside from the Sakuga, is...
He needs some milk!
The characters are...
I hope you get fucking executed!
And the story is just...
My disappointment is immeasurable.
But most importantly, it revealed how fucking dry the well is in terms of content here, people. The whole point of this show, aside from making RT that Crunchyroll and chill money, was to flesh out Weiss's character and the relationship with her team, because I guess the show she was from couldn't do that apparently. Can't imagine why. So here is what we're stuck with. A bland, unsubtle representation of Weiss's family and psyche that are probably better written in a Persona crossover fanfic on Wattpad. Hell, depending on where you go to, you'll probably get a good wank out of it too. You see, many people were starting to smell the coffee at around episode 12, where the budget and story really took a dump. A Studio Shaft property not directed by Akiyuki Shimpo is the big yay? Come on, people, cut it out. Next you'll tell me that drinking bleach is bad for me. But what if I told you that there was a scene that hinted at how badly they missed the toilet this time around? A shining example of how jacked up this show's priorities are. This show, much like RWBY proper, unsurprisingly has no shortage of dog shit scenes. And there is one in particular that bugs me the most. So let's talk about it. Though to preface this, I know how much people like this scene in particular, and if that's the case, well...
I don't give a shit, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a shit, I don't give a fuck. Now if I give a shit, I might just give a fuck, but I don't give a shit, so I don't give a...
Also, I'm expecting people to have seen the show so we can hit the ground running. KK! Here's the play-by-play. After 3 episodes of recap, yeah, like that wasn't a mistake, we finally get to the fanfiction content. Weiss got infected with a Grimm that infects her and drains her life energy while she sleeps. To counter this, the heroes decide to infiltrate her dream world, fight the Nightmare Grimm inside her on some Inception type beat, and kill it before it kills her. So ideally with this setup, this is a way for us to explore more of Weiss's psyche here. Her issues with her family, her place as an heiress of the Schnee Company, her views on Team RWBY, and yes, even her racism. How did they handle it?
I fucked up. You fucked every direction.
So this is where episode 4 starts. After the most boring infiltration sequence imaginable, RWBY finds her way into the city streets of Weiss's dream. She sees a cage full of dream versions of her friends, and then Pyrrha shows up, and
Holy shit! We'll always love you! I can't believe you did this to me, goddammit! How could you do this to me?
now to tell y'all why this scene is dumb and stinky and I hate it.
Also ignore that this scene is in episode 5 instead of 4. I am a great YouTuber.
First off, why is Pyrrha even in this cage? Now, women being in cages is no problem, but why is she in the same one with these assholes? The show says that this is where Weiss keeps away the people in her life that annoys her. Jean makes sense, because they annoy me too, and Weiss is at least a tiny bit based. And Ren and Nora kinda don't, but fuck it, I'll allow it. The point is, why is she instantly on their level in her mind? Maybe because she accepts Jean as leader of her team? But why is RWBY, who has annoyed Weiss far more, especially as a leader, considered precious to her? Even though we barely have had any scenes really cementing that fact as being true, especially when it could have been anywhere recent that Weiss and RWBY paired up in their version of Badge and the Burden. Jesus, say that shit 5 times fast, holy fuck. Secondly, Pyrrha being a singer is just freaking weird. Obviously, Pyrrha IRL shows IRL has shown zero interest in that, but also cause Weiss admires Pyrrha as an accomplished huntsman prodigy. Plus, if what Dor Klein says is true, and she sings for the city in order to propagate her anti-furry propaganda, then, yeah, quite the crowd you got here, dude. Just saying. Even if a bit of Weiss's respect went as low as Queen Elizabeth's heart rate for Pyrrha, you can't just tell me that it was so drastic that she is in the same cage as the rest of Team Junip, despite supposedly being important for her anti-furry campaign or whatever. It's either she's important or she isn't. Pick one and stick with it, for fuck's sake. But we'll get to that later. Anyway, these are the two main points about this scene that just don't sit right with me. Now imagine the biggest possible sigh I could possibly make when everybody and their goddamn dog was lapping up this scene. While here I sit, just looking at the thing like a fucking Rubik's Cube. And I was thinking, why did they make Pyrrha this way? Why did they make her like this? And I was like, wait a minute. What if they did this shit, like, on purpose?
You wanna run that by me again?
No, really, like, let's explore this a little bit. What do we know about how Weiss sees Pyrrha? Well, Pyrrha, much like Weiss, is a prodigy, someone of esteem or status, She's won tournaments, she's in cereal boxes, for fuck's sake. She's an accomplished huntsman in training. But in comparison, Weiss's goals and status and all that stuff, those things are a part of a family legacy. But Pyrrha doesn't have to deal with any of that baggage. She's pretty much self-made in a profession that she willingly went into. In a profession that Weiss saw as a way to be free from her family. And speaking of freedom, Weiss singing seems to me, at least it always seemed like, one of the very few things that she likes to do that is mostly untethered by the influences of her family. I mean, sure, of course Jacques in Volume 4 uses that talent to his advantage, but even then, the fact that Weiss uses that time to say the "fuck you dad" song, is at least a clear indication that she kinda prefers doing this shit on her own by her own choices. So what if, with all of that crap in mind, that Dream Pyrrha in the way that she is presented is a way of Weiss projecting her wishes for freedom, but also her possession of the idea of Pyrrha onto this dream version of her. She's in the cage, and she is used as a prop in order to gain support for her own movement. Much like, how she's in advertising and she's basically a celebrity in the real world. And in a way, in a bit of narcissism on Weiss's part, Pyrrha singing Mirror Mirror, and especially with the imagery of reflecting onto Dream Weiss, that can be a clear indication that Weiss probably wonders, is Pyrrha as lonely as she is on the inside in some way, shape, or form? So you have this really interesting dichotomy where Pyrrha to Weiss represents a lot of the freedom that she wants to attain, but by possessing this idea of her, she keeps her locked up and caged in because she doesn't know where else to put any of that self-loathing and those wants and desires into. She puts this in this separate person. She doesn't put it into RWBY, she doesn't put it into Yang, she doesn't do that to Blake for obvious reasons. She puts that onto Pyrrha. And I think that's interesting. After ruminating all this pseudo-intellectual bullshit in my head, I was all like, wow, that's actually fucking dope. Because of this, we get to add an interesting dimension to Weiss's character that we never got to see before and never got touched upon in the original volume, while leaving room for Pyrrha to get fleshed out before she gets Thanos snapped 2 volumes later. RoosterTeeth might actually be on to something.
What? Bullshit.
fuck me for hoping, right? 8 episodes later, Pyrrha is just an overglorified cameo inside of the dream. She does arguably less than the dream versions of Ren and Nora, and that's saying a lot. And speaking of the real piece of toast that we have, she just stands around with the others being all,
We should do something! Should we do something? We should do something! Should we do something?
oh, but her butt buddy to be Jean can be there for dumb comic relief and debatably important plot reasons in the last stretch, because fuck Pyrrha being her own person, you know? Fuck her interacting with the other characters. Fuck her having any sort of depth beside the 2 good scenes she's had over the course of 3 fucking seasons. And yes, fuck her being anything more than Jean's dead not waifu. Now, imagine everything I have a problem with that, but like, with everything else. Like, everything else involving Weiss's dream makes me this fucking livid. You know? Let's have Whitley be a brat instead of a person with flaws and who probably has it arguably worse than Weiss, but he's just annoying. You know, what do we find out about the relationship? Fucking nothing. Weiss hates him. Fuck it. Whatever. Let's ignore that Winter only has 2 scenes in the whole show, despite being clearly a very big authority figure and source of moral integrity that Weiss sees, you know, and admires throughout her entire life. Fuck that. You know, fuck exploring that any further. Oh, Klein has 3 doors for his multiple personalities, despite each one of them being distinct. Well, you gotta fucking deal with that shit. And of course, you know, we always gotta have Jacques bringing toxic masculinity back. Oh, and don't even get me started on how Willow is more wasted here than she is in One Afternoon. Even at the start, I was afraid that this was what we'd end up with. I didn't want this show to suck. I didn't want our one chance to actually just look at things from a fresh eyes in regards to Volume 1 and Weiss's development and actually fixing these issues of her not really being as fleshed out in that volume as she should have, or dealing with her issues in a well-written manner. And in the end, I guess you just can't escape your roots. In short, Weiss's dream world was nothing but surface level, trite, pretentious waste of time and energy. I mean, what's the one thing we learn about? Oh, we get to learn about her grandfather, Big Nicholas. You know, the one guy that only got referenced in fucking side material and never in the actual series. The guy who apparently had a big moment with Weiss when she was a child, and she, for some reason, forgot about his lesson. In fact, what was the anything that we couldn't learn from the first 4 volumes about Weiss? Fuck it, first volume, first episode, first fucking concept art. Rich girl, daddy issues, isolation, prejudice, maybe racism. So fucking deep, people. The series almost never conveys Weiss's story in a way that she absolutely deserves. She is only as good because she is the best of the worst batch of poorly written walking, talking plot devices I have ever fucking seen. And that is saying a lot. Which is why they gave her nothing in volume 7 and 8. Despite them being in her fucking city. And I don't even need to tell y'all how much of a waste that is. Fucking lame. Oh, yeah, I guess this is the part where I actually give some tips as to how to fix this whole thing or whatever. You know all that crap I was rambling for like 5 minutes about Pyrrha and Weiss actually having a connection? Yeah, do that! Do that somehow. I don't fucking know. Just do that shit. Or B, you can just screw all that and just make Pyrrha a soldier or general or spokesperson for her anti-furry campaign or whatever the like, have her be an active part in the narrative. That's all I ask. There you go. Not that it would really change how bland the show ended up being, but better than nothing, I guess. Man, if this shit is bad, imagine how Volume 9 is gonna turn out. Can't fucking wait.